The ocean was never meant to forgive. In the freezing darkness of 1944, a burning aircraft fell from the sky. 8 men survived the crash, but the sea would demand more. This is the true story of a leader who made an impossible choice and proved that heroism isn't about living, but about what you're willing to give. The afternoon of June 24th, 1944 is cold and unforgiving over the Norwegian Sea. Gray waves roll endlessly beneath a lone Catalina flying boat, its engines droning as it patrols hostile waters. At the controls sits Flight Lieutenant David "Pop" Hornell, a calm, experienced pilot flying one of the most dangerous missions of the war, anti-submarine patrol. Then a voice crackles over the intercom. "Sir, are you seeing what I'm seeing on the port side?" Hornell turns his head. Cutting through the swell below is a shape no airman ever wants to miss. A German U-boat, riding high on the surface. Hornell doesn't hesitate. He sounds the action alarm, banks the Catalina hard, and brings the aircraft around. 4 depth charges hang beneath the wings. This is the moment they've trained for. Down below, aboard U-1225, the German crew spots the aircraft almost immediately. Oberleutnant zur See, Ernst Sauerberg, reacts fast. "Turn to port. Man the guns." Twin 20mm cannons swing upward. A 37mm flak gun locks onto the incoming plane. The sea erupts with gunfire. The Catalina shudders as shells rip through its thin aluminum skin. The cockpit rattles violently. Hornell grips the controls as flak bursts hammer the fuselage. "Radio base," he orders. "Report our position." But before the message can be sent, a shell punches through the radio compartment, wounding the operator and destroying the equipment. Unknown to the crew, their calls for help will never be heard. Still, Hornell presses on. The Catalina dives lower, straight into the storm of fire. Tracers streak past the windows. Metal screams as rounds tear through the wings. One engine begins to shake violently. In the nose, the front gunner opens fire. Twin machine guns rake the U-boat's conning tower, forcing the German gunners to duck for cover. For a moment, the submarine's guns fall silent. Then one of the Catalina's guns jams. Sauerberg sees his chance. Back on the guns. Fire! The sky fills with tracers again. The Catalina is hit repeatedly. Flames burst from the starboard engine, fire pouring from the cowling as fuel ignites. Engines on fire. The engine is shut down, but the flames keep growing. The Catalina is now a burning aircraft, flying straight at a fully armed submarine. Below, Sauerberg watches the fireball approach and orders evasive maneuvers. But Hornell is already committed. At the last possible moment, he adjusts his approach and releases the depth charges. They splash down perfectly around the U-boat. Seconds later, massive underwater explosions tear through the sea. The submarine is fatally damaged. U-1225 is destroyed. But victory comes at a terrible cost. The Catalina is no longer controllable. The burning engine begins tearing itself apart, pieces ripping free and vanishing into the sea. Hornell knows the truth. They are not making it home. "We're going down," he tells his crew. "Brace yourselves." With no other choice, Hornell lines the aircraft into the wind and prepares for a forced landing on heavy seas. The floats deploy. The remaining engine idles. The first impact slams the aircraft back into the air. The second is worse. The Catalina crashes through wave after wave before finally grinding to a halt. Burning, broken, and sinking fast. "Get out! Now!" The crew scrambles into the freezing water as flames consume the aircraft. Inflatable dinghies are deployed just moments before the Catalina disappears beneath the waves. In the chaos, one crewman swims back toward the sinking plane, desperate to retrieve the radio. But it's too late. The aircraft explodes and vanishes. Now, 8 men are adrift in the open sea. One is missing. They spot a second dinghy in the distance, then see it empty. Moments later, they find their crewmate alive, only for the dinghy to suddenly explode, throwing men back into the icy water. There is now only one lifeboat, and not enough room for everyone. Hornell makes his decision instantly. He stays in the water. For 3 hours, he organizes rotations, forcing men to swap places in the freezing sea to delay hypothermia. He spends the longest time in the water himself, refusing to give in. Eventually, an aircraft appears overhead. Flares are fired. Once, twice, 3 times. Finally, the Catalina turns. Hope returns. A rescue launch is dispatched from over 100 miles away. The aircraft signals that the U-boat has been destroyed. The men cheer weakly, clinging to life. But the sea is relentless. A wave flips the dinghy, throwing everyone back into the water. Exhausted, freezing, barely conscious, they manage to right it once more. One crewman succumbs to exposure. Hornell helps push his body into the sea, a decision no leader ever wants to make. After 21 hours, a searchlight pierces the darkness. The rescue boat has arrived. One by one, the survivors are pulled from the water. Hornell is last. He lies still, utterly spent. As his men are lifted to safety, a faint smile crosses his face. He closes his eyes. Despite 4 hours of desperate attempts, David Pop. Hornell does not survive. Because of him, 5 men live. For his extraordinary courage, pressing an attack in a burning aircraft, saving his crew at the cost of his own life, Hornell is posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross. His second pilot later said, "Outstanding was his marvelous ability to fly such a badly damaged aircraft. His courage marked him as a great man." On that cold day in 1944, a flying boat destroyed a U-boat. But more importantly, a leader proved that heroism is measured not by survival, but by sacrifice.